What to do, and welcome to another episode of the Bench Bros podcast. This is week 13 because it's that lucky number. It is your man, Cheese Bees, along with my partner in time.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. It's been a while. How you doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah, well, you dropped this hot, steaming pile of beautiful journalistic work on my lap.
It's not like that at all.
It's really good, actually. Like, this could be something. Maybe we'll release it. I don't know. He's the editor. He'll tell you.
Um, well, I was watching YouTube today, and I had
Mhm.
watched a video about uh it was a interview that the National Players League had put out, or somebody
The
had reported that.
NFLPA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had a reporter out there, some journalist, and they were talking about uh turf versus grass and how they just wish to play on grass instead of the turf and not get hurt for random reasons. Big bad turf monster comes out and it grabs you. And so I was like, okay. And then they had said something else about, well, the World Cup's going to get played here in 2026. And
Yep.
every World Cup previous has played on grass, so they're going to play on grass. So they're going to tear up our turf and put down grass just for
Mhm.
them to rip it up again. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So I look into that, and that's what led me down the hole I was in for the day.
Yeah. So essentially, the claim here is that artificial grass is definitely really not the way to go, and rather
Well, I wouldn't say
real grass.
artificial grass. They have like a called hybrid grass,
Uh huh.
which is artificial and real grass mixed together, which
Oh,
is
that's
what
interesting.
Green Bay uses.
Ah, that
But
is
still,
okay.
it's still not perfect.
Yeah, and I believe that Green Bay does have an open stadium, so
They do.
okay. Which would be perfect because even when it is snowing to shit, there's at least some type of quote unquote soil or, you know,
I mean, but
type of ground to catch onto.
Green Bay had a real turf at one point too, and it was fine then. I mean, Tampa has we use real grass, and our
Well,
stadium's fine, and
well,
we
yeah,
rain all the time,
yes, it's beautiful
and
in
our
Tampa. I mean,
our
it's
grass
a
is
temperate
beautiful.
climate. It's fantastic. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
up until what is it
in one of the
the
points,
36? What was the slavery line?
you
The
mean
longitudinal.
You mean the Mason Dixon line?
Yeah, the parallel 3630 north. Yeah, below that you can basically keep some good grass,
Well, according to
weather-wise, I should say.
uh the Tennessee Titans,
Mm-hmm.
they struggled to grow grass for 28 years.
They also struggle to, I don't know, have any quarterback other than the Warren Moon of the Tennessee Oilers.
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans will debut the new NFL's newest artificial surface Sunday in their home opener against the Los Angeles Chargers after trying and struggling to grow grass in Nashville for 24 seasons.
That
Uh,
is that is not real. You are reading.
that is,
No, that cannot. They cannot be real.
uh-huh.
Oh, at Nissan Stadium, a monofilament surface with organic infill. Uh,
Um, there was 3 injuries that game.
oh God, against the Chargers, you say? Now, do you think that at any point in time that these injuries were contributed to?
I can't because it's really hard to go back and look. define
Yeah.
what these injuries were from old games. I really struggled with that. And I only spent a day on this, so there's only so much I could do. Um,
I'm looking here, trying to figure out anything. Let's go to Tennessee.
here.
A hamstring, abdomen. Well, we do have a knee for the offensive lineman. Questionable, I guess you just a groin, which is definitely an issue. A shoulder and a hamstring. So yeah, I would say that there's at least the knee and there's two hamstrings that might have been an issue going into this game. On top of that, it was the Titans and the Saints. So,
Here.
well, actually, no, that was week one. They played Titans played at the Saints. So let's see week two.
There you go.
Oh, is that against the Jets? That's what it was.
That's when Aaron Rodgers got injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not really talking about Aaron Rodgers in this. I mean, I mentioned him, but so like I said, I started it with it kind of just turned into a rabbit hole that I went down, and I came up with 4 questions that I wanted answers for, and they were: why do NFL players still play on turf? Why does the NFL and its owners refuse to switch? Why are they switching out turf for grass for the World Cup, and why is the taxpayer paying for that? All right, so I'll start with my
Okay.
first question.
Yeah. Why does
Why
the
do they?
NFL play on turf?
So they began playing on turf in the early '70s to help players maneuver better, and it was
Yes.
also an attempt to help cut down like on, I believe, field maintenance and that sort of thing.
Yes. And I mean, as someone, I mean, it was in high school when I played high school football, but I mean, you can definitely feel the difference between grass because I played at home. We played on a grass turf or grass, but every other person in our division played on turf. And you could tell the difference. I mean, the our games we were an air team and
Mm-hmm.
everybody else was a running team, and that's how we kind of basically got the edge on them. You know, you when you're on regular ground, dirt, you are gonna have a little bit of give, as opposed to an air team where you don't have to dig in and really generate power from the ground to the legs and then power forward.
Yeah,
And that was a very big home field advantage. But every time we were going into a turf field whatsoever, I mean, it was essentially just throw the ball and let our fast as fuck receivers just go out there and jump ball it.
yeah. But that also comes at the cost of players changing direction faster, as well as hitting each other
Absolutely.
harder from an increase of speed, leading to more injury.
Yes.
I have a study in 2018 which cites it showed play on artificial turf had a 16% increase of lower extremity injuries on artificial turf compared to grass.
Yeah.
Um,
And I can absolutely believe that. I mean, again, on ground, there's just more give. I mean, when you get hit in that side, it does press into the ground just a little bit
mhm.
more. That kind of really takes away from that
And
force.
there's plenty of videos of
Oh,
NFL players
absolutely.
just running and their ACLs just blow out,
Yeah.
or they just
Bec-
do the minor maneuvers and a normal
and
hit
they're
with,
done.
and yeah, and sometimes I'm not saying it's. I mean, you have to take into account for um non-contact and contact injuries
I
and
was
previous
absolutely
like repeated injuries and what that plays into it.
yeah.
But you can also say turf aggravates those old injuries as well, just from the impact of the way they impact with it,
Yeah.
or the players' bodies impact with it. A Dr. Joseph Denali in San Francisco, who was a surgeon who repaired uh,
ACLs,
ACLs, primarily
which
of
real quick
women.
for everybody, anterior crucial ligament. Essentially, that is the ligament that connects your femur to your tibia in your knee right behind the patella. So it's
He
very important.
he primarily did it for female soccer players because apparently women are at a higher chance for blowing out their ACLs.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I've seen them, dude. They rip the fuck out of each other. They'll just grab hair and just rip it.
Yeah. Anyways, he went on to describe it as an epidemic. Um, he also went on to say you're not going to be able to change the surface that they play on, so I might as well try to get them to use a cleat that has a favorable interaction with the turf. But he also thinks that grass is safer. Because he also, I didn't do put it down in my notes, but he also did a study with um the cleats that they use for it, and in the turf they use kind of like a bladed cleat, and so
Yeah,
when they went on an angle it slips. It would slip a lot as opposed to a different style of cleat where it kind of dug into.
yes. It's more of a, it's closer to a
But it,
running spike as opposed to a traditional like turf or football cleat.
but he had trouble with getting them to like change cleats and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, once you pick something you like, I mean, you find it, and a lot of
Hmm.
these guys, you definitely see them go. You change the way their feet feel. They're not comfortable. They don't like the way they cut or juke or even just stand there in the pocket if they're a quarterback. And I feel like that's the big issue here. I mean, we definitely need I don't know, at least some sort of quality safety for these players.
We're gonna get into that.
Oh, I'm excited.
Um, so it's not just high schoolers and their surgeons that would like to see the change. The NFLPA, which he said is the National Football League's Player Association, which is their union,
Hmm.
wants to see a change. And from like all the interviews you hear and that I've saw when I was researching that, it seems like like a large majority of players wants to play on grass.
Yeah.
They want to play on grass.
Hmm. Well, I can definitely see it. A lot of these players, I
If
mean, they
they
come
haven't been
from,
injured from it,
yeah.
they see their buddies, their teammates get injured from it. They hear about it,
Hmm.
and I mean, I think that's a small price to pay, even for their peace of mind. Even if it's a couple $1,000,000, these guys are bringing in you potential billions. These guys are bringing in billions of dollars. So
I would say so, yes.
no, they are. I mean, the
Yeah,
NFL is a
absolutely, yeah.
$5.1 billion company.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They're, I mean, yeah, I
Um,
mean, I guarantee you that you can see the drop off in fan attendance from when Aaron Rodgers had that ACL injury compared to what
oh,
they're doing now.
it was immediate. They had him go out with the American flag, and then second play of the game he goes
No,
down. So yeah,
right.
they were banking on it. Um, but not yeah, they're a $5 billion organization that has also came up with around that 16% injury rate on artificial turf.
Hmm.
And Roger Goodell is quoted as saying, "That is where we make decisions on the basis of science, but not because of an injury that I don't like." But he still hasn't taken any action on this, even though the science backs it up. So the NFLPA put out this, as I quoted, when Aaron Rodgers did go down in Week 1,
Hmm.
that the injuries on slit film are completely avoidable, and that's a type of turf. Both the NFL and the NFLPA experts agree on the data, and yet the NFL will not protect players from a subpar surface.
Okay, and what exactly is this slit film
So
as
I don't
opposed to?
know all the turfs because there's so many.
Yeah,
Just for example, this is actually the type of turf that is used in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. You ready for it? It's
the
called
slit
a.
film, I believe so. Or
It's no. You
the
want to know what
monofilament?
you want to know what it's called? It's called the
Uh,
Hellas Matrix turf with a helix soft top.
Hell yeah, that sounds like some shit we would pay
Like,
way
and
too much
then
money for.
another word that I ran out of space to write on my little scratch note that I wrote on paper. But yeah, there are like a lot of those. Some of the turfs have really crazy names. like
Yeah.
that. So, I don't
Well, I'm
remember
looking here
exactly
at
what the slit,
ATX turf, which God knows whatever that is.
but
Batting
I
cage turf,
believe
even.
uh, I'd have to look into it again.
Yeah.
But let me just do it right now, just to slit
I'm
film
trying to find
turf.
out what exactly it is. From what I understand, the slit film is supposed to be
I'm
essentially
just trying to
a quote unquote thicker grass. So that way, when you're digging in, it's a lot less of the rubber, like
yeah,
those little rubber pellets.
they're wider openings. That's what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Yeah. The
But
slit
what it
film
does, it
essentially
creates
closes that.
but it created a wider opening for the cleats to get grabbed into.
Yes.
So, um, it would seem
And
like I was talking about. It seemed like most of the players are on the same side, and there's numerous quotes from players across the league wanting grass.
yes.
The numbers say that grass is healthier for the players,
Well, it
and
definitely is. I mean, there's no such thing as grass tape, but there is turf tape for a number of your extremities. I don't know if you've
the
ever seen that.
no, I haven't.
Yeah, so essentially the turf tape, and it's been a thing since turf came out. It's essentially just tape that you would put almost
Oh, is
like
it so they don't get like the rug burn?
yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah, sorry.
exactly
Yeah, I know
that.
what you're
Just the
talking
road
about.
rash, that
Yeah,
white. If you're ever going like, oh man, that's a really
yeah.
cool fashion statement. No,
They're
he's
like
just
covered
trying.
in tape, so yeah, they don't get like burned.
Yes,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about,
yes.
and like cuts and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. The numbers say that grass is healthier for the players, and I want to play on a surface that keeps me healthy. Patrick Mahomes states. And and I'll just say this here, and out of the nine out of the 11 um, stadiums that are going to be used, NFL stadiums and other uh, Canadian football and Mexican football stadiums,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Kansas City is one of the like three that don't use turf, three or four that don't use turf. So
Interesting.
they
So
use
even
real
at the
grass. They
so
use
even at the lower level,
Northbridge Bermuda grass as
ooh, and Bermuda grass is
one
actually really
of
nice,
all the Mexican um, football
specifically here.
stadiums use real grass as well.
But you also have to agree that the temperament of the weather allows
Okay.
for the very
Well,
easily
Mexico
part of
also has a diverse
yes.
ecosystem. The Stadium Azteca in Mexico
Hmm.
City uses grass. The
Yes.
stadium in Guadalajara uses grass, and
Hmm.
the stadium in Monterrey or Guadalupe uses
Monterrey,
also,
yeah,
and Guadalupe also uses real grass. So
yeah.
that's a wide variety of locations that also use grass.
Hmm.
Um, so it's
And
not
it's
like
yeah. Well, and I'm
go.
looking here to really figure out like who uses turf and who doesn't. I mean, there's some very interesting teams that do.
And I didn't have
Baltimore,
time.
Maryland
I didn't have
has
time
Bermuda
to.
grass.
I didn't have time to look into
Hmm.
how many teams in America. Like I was gonna count not just football. I was gonna go soccer because a lot of them share the same stadiums,
Hmm.
and then like baseball
Interesting. I wonder
because baseball
what
uses turf
is
as well.
yes, and they typically only play during. I mean, I think they play as late as October, and I think that's the end of their season. It's what March to October is usually what they go about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm looking at which have turf and which have real grass, which
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes my point completely mute regarding the weather and everything that's
Yeah.
going on. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, Baltimore, Maryland, which is fucking freezing because it's
Yeah.
basically Canada, Bermuda grass.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears, okay, Chicago,
It's.
Illinois is absolutely freezing
Mm-hmm.
this time of year. Bermuda grass,
Mm-hmm. Bermuda grass is a very hardy grass. I believe that
yes.
one. It's from Africa. It's a grass from
Ah,
Africa, so like it can take anything.
yeah.
You can take the heat, can take the cold.
Yeah, and I mean, you even see it here, like Washington Commanders, Bermuda grass, Philadelphia Eagles, Bermuda grass.
Yeah, and you
I
think
mean,
more south where it's like easier to grow grass. No, Most of it's turf.
Yeah, like what was it? Yeah, New Orleans
Miami,
Saints. They have a Superdome, Turf Nation S5, which is
Al-
essentially a turf.
Atlanta. I can go over
Yes.
all. Atlanta is a turf core, which is
Yep.
turf. Uh,
Let's see, Carolina, which I believe is, I mean, South Carolina. I
Houston,
think it is.
turf.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, turf. Miami
Mm-hmm.
uses grass. New York uses turf. Philadelphia uses hybrid, which
Philadelphia
is a mix.
uses, yeah,
San Fran uses grass. Seattle uses turf.
the Vegas, yeah,
Toronto
Vegas
uses
Raiders, Toronto.
Toronto. Both Toronto and Vancouver use turf.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're talking about
I'm
the
just
actual
looking
like
on the ones that
soccer.
I'm just looking at the ones that I have notes on for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when they're playing, let's say soccer or football or
Mm-hmm.
football or footy or whatever the fuck you call it,
Mm-hmm.
they typically play on grass. Is that right?
Um, I believe in Europe they play mostly on grass. I don't know because I didn't have time to look into like all the European stadiums and all the American stadiums. I'm just looking at the stadiums that are being used for the World Cup, and
Mm-hmm.
I was going off of that because that's what I had time for.
Let's see.
But
I'm looking here to see
I
exactly
think
what.
a lot of European football is played on real grass.
Yeah, and the problem is, I could tell you where in your football club Volendam. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to the Netherlands 2006 start, but I don't know anything about soccer, so I couldn't tell you like who is actually a major contender and who is bringing in the money for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm really trying here.
So
Uh, Go ahead.
I'm gonna move on to my next question of why the
Yes,
NFL and the owners are refusing to switch.
because obviously you can do it even in the more northern states.
Yeah, so first and foremost, the NFL is a business, so they are
Yes.
obligated to make a profit for their shareholders. So, although it's coming at a cost of player safety and longevity that, makes them that money, they still won't do it. NFL team owners are tax funded and have predominantly tax funded stadiums. Um,
Yes.
use a lot uh, tax that belongs to the government that is given to them,
Yeah.
for
Essentially, it's a
building.
hey, you're doing great. The team's doing great. You're bringing in this business. We can kind of help it along so that way we can mutually benefit from this.
So they have used that taxpayer money to not only make the stadiums, I'd say they made them look nicer, but they've also put in this artificial turf, not just for their players' safety, but
Mm-hmm.
they say it's a necessity to hold other events. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's the bottom line. I'm sorry, that's the bottom dollar. The bottom line. Follow the
Yeah.
money.
No. No.
Simple
Give it
as
to him,
that.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Uh,
Yeah.
David Bakatari said, and he is on the Packers, I believe.
I honestly couldn't tell you, but sounds about right.
So they owners use these tax funded stadiums to then hold other events that aren't sports related that makes them wealthier while bringing in little money to local markets. Most of those jobs at stadiums are temporary jobs, they're not permanent jobs.
Mm. I mean, we'll take a for instance, AT&T Stadium houses, I believe, three or to f- 3 or 5, like it's 3, 4, 5, a good amount of the state high school championship games. So
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean,
not
they're turf,
permanent.
but they are bringing in and exactly like you said, it's not permanent. These teams are coming from, you know, West Texas or very deep South Texas, where there is absolutely no reason for them to be driving 12 hours to go play a game when the team that they're facing is only 6 hours away almost. But like you said, I mean, it's 4 extra things that are happening, and it is all temporary, and you're kind of just stuck
Yeah.
where it is.
Um, the Tennessee Titans said they moved to an artificial turf because they struggled to grow grass in Tennessee for 28 years. And I'm no herbologist. It's a load of shit. It just is. There's no way you cannot grow grass in a stadium in Tennessee.
You're the only 10 I see. But yes, I mean, I'm looking at it here. Uh, what is the stadium for the Titans?
It is the Nissan Stadium.
Nissan Stadium.
Or,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
it's Nissan Stadium.
Multi-purpose, owned by the Metropolitan Government of Nashville. It's an open stadium.
Uh huh.
And it's in Tennessee, which, let's be honest, is on the midline belt. Like, you can definitely grow
That's what
grass
it,
there, and it sucks, but you can make it happen.
it gets a bit colder there, but they have a similar climate to us. Like I said, we grow grass just fine.
Well, you say us, but you're in Florida. That's Tennessee's a little higher, but like in Missouri, Illinois, that's about the same. And if Chicago can do it in the open Soldier Field, I mean, it really just comes down to, do you want to spend the money? And I don't know, man. Tennessee hasn't been shit for a while, and I
I
wonder
think it'd
if
be, cheaper to keep grass. It literally grows for free.
it does, but you would have to work, especially well,
Yeah, I
right
mean, you have
now
to
you
put
would.
work into it, but you put
At
some
this point in the
seeds
year, you
down.
would. Yeah.
Yeah, but you plant your grass. It's pretty much done. I mean, you have to do some repairs here and there, but
I mean, the same way you would do any other type of
you still have to do
grass
repairs
field.
to turf. So what's the difference? You still have to repair the turf.
Uh,
And it's also no coincidence that the opening day on the field had 3 injuries, all to lower extremities.
yeah.
And the Titans aren't the only ones who recently switched to a turf field in 2021. Bank of America Stadium, that housed the Carolina Panthers,
Hmm.
changes their Bermuda grass field to turf when their soccer team, Charlotte FC, announced they were going to be moving to the stadium. So they got rid of their grass for turf for the soccer team that just moved in. Um, the changes also came as they announced other activities other than sports that were coming to the venue, such as country music acts as well as monster truck rallies. And then,
I don't think you have the monster truck rallies on the regular grass though.
Raymond James Stadium, which is an outdoor field that shares most of the same climate as the
And that is the
Carolinas,
Buccaneers Stadium.
also hosts concerts and other activities, but doesn't have a problem for pertaining to maintenance of other events. And it's I forgot. Oh yeah, Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson said, "It's probably going to take all of us to stop going to practice until we get grass." Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson said, "I mean, they can make enough money off us to maintain grass. I hate to say this, but with our last owner, Jerry Richardson, we had grass. Listen to your players. We want to play on grass." Uh, the cost to renovate the Bank of America Stadium cost a projected $50 million. But what is the cost to keep the players safe from the field?
And I mean, you truly are protecting not only
I
your
mean, that was
players, but
also
you bring the people that actually you like.
truly
Again, going back to Aaron Rodgers because he's just like the most famous guy that I can think of. I mean, he
at
goes
the
down,
moment.
then it's just at the moment. And I mean, even then, there has been a number of times that the turf monster is just eating people up. I remember, I think it
And
was
you can
like
you
4 or
can make
5 years ago, the
you can make
Giants.
the argument that it was a contact hit, but not not
Mm,
that hit was not hard enough to blow out his uh what did it like blow out his ACL, right?
yes,
Or his ankle or something? I can't remember.
His Achilles.
Achilles tendon. That's what
Yes.
it was. Like there's no reason for that.
No, none that would be I mean,
Like
because you don't necessarily blow your Achilles. I mean, if
he
for
didn't get
everybody
a
out
he
there,
didn't get his Achilles blown out for getting hit in the
no,
upper
it wasn't.
body.
I believe he was making a move, essentially over, kind of extended, and
Shit
his foot
sticky.
just stayed. Yeah, it was exactly. It was sticky. There was no give. There was no. It should have been a chip ball thrown as opposed to a ball that was delivered subtly because he had his hips, planted specific or very firmly and delivering the ball. It should have just been one of those lame duck type of passes.
And it wasn't.
And exactly.
Um so I'm gonna move on to my third question is why are they switching out the grass for the World
Hmm.
Cup and then back again? And I kinda got sidetracked here a little bit.
Yeah.
This is where I went on a side quest. Um
You know what? I don't know, man. Maybe the color purple is racist. I don't know. Maybe that was the thing that it was in paragraph 4, subsection 3, and I think I might agree with you.
I looked at all the fields being used in the 2026 World Cup, and 9 out of the 11 stadiums that are hosting games have a form of artificial turf in place. And I'll talk more about the pricing of it later, but I came across two companies that I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically, yeah, it's two. It's Parquet Sports and Hellas. Uh, they both appear as normal building management, and one's in a different. I think Tekkit is more of no. Yes, I can't. I get more into it here in
Mm-hmm.
my notes. And I'll start with Target. From what I can tell, and I didn't have time to look into all their fields that they build, but they build a fuck ton, not just here in the States, but also in Europe, in Asia, in um, the Middle East. They are all over the place, and they have tons of different subsidiaries all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are owned by a company called the Society of Investment It's a French LLC, and they have no website. You cannot find any information for them. They are very private.
Oh,
I
that
went
does
looking
not
for
sound
like
good.
Bloomberg stuff, and all they had was like their name and where they were located.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they also Target's. Uh, so you have Target Sports, and then you have a bunch of other subsidiaries under Target Sports, which is owned by that French company, and all their little. A lot of their subsidiary companies sit on a uh, they sit on boards that govern field standards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially,
I mean, the same way any
letting
government, yeah,
letting the car manufacturers make laws about cars.
yeah. They're all every single one of them is gonna
So
say, yeah, we're gonna make them
we're
bigger and
gonna
better, and
they're gonna make it really easy for themselves and
yes,
cut corners where they need to. And they're basically the sheriff and the judge of field regulations.
and executioner at this point.
Yeah. Um, Hellas is a different kind of animal. On their Hellas is a construction management business based in Texas. They
Mm-hmm.
have a couple different locations. Their parent company is Tekkit, and is a textile company that
Mm.
is a Dutch company. They're very old. They're
Oh, okay.
like 1704.
And that's
Uh,
just when they actually got discovered.
Uh, they produce a wide variety of things like artificial turf, outdoor-based fabrics for like tents, and like anything that you would need for like outdoor like sign
Fibers,
banners.
textiles, polymers. Let's see
Yeah,
here. Oh,
Hence
I'm
as
looking
well as,
now.
and they
Like,
also make protective clothing. They
yeah.
like fire suits, water resistant suits, but they also build um, they also produce armor for a variety of weapon systems
Mm.
under their subsidiary Integris, which is not really a problem until you look at some of their clients. You have like Canada,
Nah,
the
but if you look,
USA, the UK,
yeah.
the normal crowd, but you also have places like Bahrain, where the monarchy
Hmm.
represses civil liberties and rights.
And they
Qatar,
very much can because they control the narrative as well as, I don't know, the weapons and or protection against said weapons.
they deal deals with Qatar. Don't really need to go. They just hosted the previous World Cup. They are suspected supporters of other terrorist groups. This, that, and the third. The whole nine
Yep.
yards. Thailand, who in 2014 and to this day has a military junta that overthrew a democracy, as well as Saudi Arabia. You know, you don't really need to go into why.
Hey, GE, what do you guys do besides washing machines and uh refrigerators? Well, we made the AC-130, which essentially shoots so many
Well, they
bullets
made
that it will knock the jet out of the sky.
they made
Or the
the spinning.
AC-10, I believe.
They made the spinning part of it, yeah, of the gun.
Yeah. Yeah,
They make things
the
that spin.
agitator. Yeah, when push comes to shove, you can turn that into a weapon to fight against your own government according to GE standards, which you may actually be able to. Fuck, maybe that's why my washer doesn't have one. It is GE. They took it out. They knew it would be too powerful.
It was too powerful. So I asked
What's it
Roger
called? The
Goodell
agitator.
and the owners
Mm-hmm.
why they are letting these foreign companies that don't have maybe the best interests in mind into our, you know, country and sport.
Mm-hmm.
And
And he said, "Oh, I'm sure, because it's
yeah,
Roger
that's
Goodell."
they. No one cares.
No,
They're just gonna keep letting it happen. And for my last question is why the American taxpayer is funding this.
that
And it's
is
pretty easy.
actually,
It's
yes, that
greed.
is, yeah, no, it really is. And you know what? I'm glad that you bring it up because the St. Louis Rams
Oh,
stadium,
I talk about Missouri here too.
you
So
talk, yeah, that's a couple times I see. I mean, the Kansas City, Missouri is where they, I believe, is the FIFA World Cup or something along that's.
yeah, that's where the Chiefs play.
Yeah, well, on top of that, the FIFA event is going to be, there's going to be a
Yeah,
number of them right there.
yeah, they're gonna play some games there, and I believe the finals in Dallas.
Hell yeah. At AT&T Stadium, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because yeah,
the
it's big enough
largest
to hold
one.
everybody. Yeah.
Um, I zoomed into two states for this, but a lot of them had went along the same pattern of these two. I went into Missouri and Texas.
Hmm.
Missouri, along with a few other member states, uh, passed bills that exempt FIFA tickets from sales tax and are gambling on making that money back in other areas. A couple of other ones that did that were Florida, and I want to say Georgia. I don't remember. I could be wrong on Georgia. I have to double check that later. But
I couldn't tell you.
and FIFA themselves asked for tax breaks and other assistance, and so that they basically came to these governments asking for money to. I don't know
Hmm.
what they wanted it for. They really didn't say tax breaks and other funding assistance, which I don't know what that means when I was looking at my article.
For what team specifically?
FIFA,
Oh, okay, okay.
the
The
organization.
actual, well, I mean, that's just some old world. Like, if you wanted
Assistance
some Illuminati shit, dive
led to
into the
cities
FIFA.
including
Minneapolis.
yeah, there you go,
I
Chicago,
got you, dude.
and Glendale, Arizona, to drop out in
Mm.
2018. Um, so yeah, I don't know what FIFA. I you can look in like you said. I know FIFA's past doings. I just didn't think they'd be trying to do this stuff in America. Uh, I guess they are.
Yeah, and I mean they're going to bend to the will of FIFA and put this new grass essentially over the turf is from what I'm understanding as I look myself into this.
Um, Alan Rothberg, the head of the World Cup USA in 1994, had this to say. Ultimately, it just means another cost that the host city is going to be responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
To prepare what could be for the largest event in Kansas City history, state and local governments are spending millions in tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the governor, Mike Parsons, committed 52 million total for the tournament. They set 50 million aside for stadium and ground modifications, marketing,
Yeah.
transportation for the FIFA event. And they're going to spend 2 million for the zoo and the theater shared parking lot upgrades. So
Hmm.
that's nice of them.
Yeah, at least that. Yeah, and I don't know that I've ever been to Kansas City,
I know
Missouri.
that's on the opposite side of the state for you, so
Yeah. Which I mean, coming from Texas, it's only 4 hours, so that's really nothing.
still, it's a geographical difference. Uh,
So what you're saying is, in all I'm really hearing is, in 2 years we're gonna have a whole bunch of foreigners coming to my state. God damn it!
3 years, but yeah, almost
3 years.
2 years.
God damn, we're a good Republican state. I can't even fucking say it without with a straight
If we're
face.
here in 2 years, well, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Um, the field at Arrowhead Stadium, they say it requires significant modifications to the seating to accommodate a soccer field that meets World Cup specifications. Qatar built a stadium out of shipping containers. I think they will be okay.
They'll be, yeah. Well, I
Um,
think the actual stadium itself was beautiful. It was everything else surrounding it that was just
hey,
straight up.
if shipping containers is okay for the World Cup, that's fine.
Yeah.
Uh, why are we going to spend all this money for, I can understand like upgrading roads and other infrastructure, but
Hmm.
not like upgrading
Yes.
these stadiums at the cost of the taxpayer. That's what I'm really trying to get at here.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it's going to come down to, and the taxpayer is going to have to shell out all of this shit, pay for
um
all of these things, and then there will never be a bump to the
Kansas,
economy the same way like this for the next 30, 40 years if they ever do get to be the host site for something as international as the FIFA World Cup.
so in Kansas, then the Kansas City
Hmm.
uh situation, Kansas and Missouri are both using money from their general funds for their World Cup
Yeah.
commitments, and their income and sales tax go to the general fund.
Hmm.
So
I mean, I really see this becoming kind of like was it
it's
Brazil?
literally just funneling money from income and sales tax to pay for the World Cup.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's just something to line the pockets of the people that are actually going to benefit, and everybody else is going to get
Like
stuck
I'm
with the
not
bill.
saying, like I saying, like if you're building like actual infrastructure that's gonna last and do something, that's great. But these stadiums
Hmm.
who get upgraded every 5 years, do we really need to spend another 50, you know, somewhat dollar, 50 million somewhat dollars?
Hmm.
Um, the Boston Consulting Group predicts American host cities will recoup their investment and then net anywhere from, they say they could net anywhere from 90 million to 480 million, but that depends. So they could break even. And if they do break even, they're expected to make $90 million. So they're still gambling with taxpayer money.
Yeah, Well, I'm trying to look here. What Qatar, right, was the last.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. How much did Qatar make from the last World Cup in 2022? According to Forbes magazine, FIFA is reaping 7.5 billion USD, which is US dollars, of revenue, while Qatar is only receiving 1.56 billion. Qatar's revenue is primarily coming from tourism and business travel. Now, there is absolutely no way. Well, I don't know. Qatar did just throw a bunch of shipping containers
Yeah,
together, but
and they had to build stadiums too.
yeah. And then what? Do you have a giant stadium? What are you gonna do with it?
They tore it back down, from what I understand.
Yeah, so they spent. Well, I mean, it's Qatar, right? Like, let's be honest. The taxes. It's a bunch of way more rich people. There's no such thing as the taxpayer. Let's be honest. But here in America, it will be an issue because of the way our economy is essentially set up. I mean, you go and you're just gonna essentially bleed Kansas City dry. Try and get as much as you can,
And then leave.
and yeah, I mean, FIFA is gonna come in and eat all of this because I mean, 90% of any type of gigantic sporting event like this is
Yeah,
advertising.
you get a short jolt of incoming cash to the local economy
Yeah,
from like hotels and restaurants,
yeah,
but not every game is being held in Kansas City.
right.
Not every game is being held in Dallas. Not every game is being held in Florida. Not every game is being held in Toronto. They're going all over the place. So yeah, I can see, 90 to 480 million altogether.
Yeah,
Maybe if it was in one place, but not from, spreading it. That's another thing, is that they're spreading this so all over the place and causing so many states to spend so much all at once. You know what
yes,
I'm getting at?
yes, exactly.
As
Because I
opposed
mean,
to
like you
holding it,
said,
and
yeah,
I can understand in maybe
at least one central
like a
time zone or one
four
central
states,
area.
like if you're in like the northeast, right, or you're in like the southeast, right,
Yes,
where you have a
yes.
lot of stadiums and a lot of infrastructure for that, or in
Hmm.
like in Seattle or in the west coast in
Yes.
California,
I mean, there's what, three or four stadiums easily
or
that
you
you could
can
do it.
do it all in like Texas, Louisiana, Florida, like that whole Ohio. There's plenty right there in the Midwest too that you can have
Yes.
it in one geographic location and that be
Yeah.
fine.
I
Not
mean,
spread out
within
all
hours of each
over
other. Yeah.
11 places in 3 different countries.
Yep. Canada, Mexico, and the US. I would hate to be just anything. Like, this is ass for any team that would be coming through trying to get it. So I'm looking here, and there's gonna be a
And
west, a central,
that's
and an
another thing I
east
was thinking.
region.
That's like a logistical nightmare almost, right?
Yes. Well,
Like
I'm looking
imagine
here.
imagine you
Uh,
have a game, like your game in Canada, and then
yeah.
you're in Vancouver, which is on the west coast of Canada, and then hey, guess what? Your next game is in Miami, Florida, the complete opposite side of the world, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the red eye. You lose 4 hours of sleep, and then who's to say that you don't play a game that from somebody who's on already on the East Coast, like, Boston, New York, New Jersey. They just go south, go straight to Miami, and they don't lose anything.
Anything.
Yeah, and now you're jet lagged, and why? Why would you make this be a thing?
Yeah, America spans so many time. We have like what, 4 different time zones?
Yes, we have Pacific, Central, Mountain, and I think
Eastern.
East. Yeah, Eastern. There you go. So yeah, it's Pacific, Central, or Pacific, Mountain, Central, and then Atlantic, or
Eastern.
Eastern rather, Eastern.
So now
So
we
again,
go.
that's 1, 2, 3 hours, and I don't know how often games are played in
every day.
FIFA.
I think they're going on like most of like in the like first couple days they're going on every day.
Yeah.
Not to
When
mention if you
I'm,
live in these places, fucking rest in spaghetti or traffic.
dude, yeah, it's fucking over.
Especially uh Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace. New
Yep.
York, New Jersey, and MetLife, rest in
Boston.
peace.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, rest in peace. San Francisco, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, rest in peace. Every like
Yeah.
maybe Miami, you have the best outcome because it's not that bad and you can walk a lot of it
Yeah.
and it's just nice.
And
But
I'm looking here. I mean, Miami only has
San
64,000 seats as opposed to the much larger, New York, New Jersey, Dallas,
MetLife,
Kansas City, yeah, MetLife, AT&T Stadium, Arrowhead Stadium, which has 76,000. But we do have a giant stadium in
yeah,
Mexico City.
yeah, and Mexico stadiums are huge.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go over to like Texas now, where
Mm-hmm.
North Central Texas Count City, I'm sorry, the North Central Texas Council of Governments has explored, and they decided to explore with temporarily redirecting a $17.5 million bond from funding a Randall Mill Road widening project that was slated to start next year, and they
Mm-hmm.
decided to put that towards the improvements of Jerryland,
Hell yeah, brother. Let's go.
uh,
And you know what?
signs,
I will be the one to tell you. Just recently,
sidewalks,
uh,
streets.
yeah, and they need it. They absolutely need those areas around there to be taken care of because
That's
I'm telling you right now, those streets, the way the curb comes up as opposed to where the
yeah,
street is,
but
the
you're
lights,
robbing.
the area around it, they definitely need those areas around there to come up
They're
specifically
robbing
in.
Peter to pay Paul.
Exactly. They truly are. And I've walked it. I've been at the stadium. I've walked the 2 blocks around the stadium and they need help around it rather than in AT&T Stadium.
And they're planning to do it in 4 phases, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna only really talk about like the first two, where
Hmm.
or I'm sorry, the first two and a half that they really did. The first phase already was awarded nearly $2 billion that they've already spent. All right,
They as of October they had not started. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
for sidewalks, trees, and amphitheater space.
Yeah.
And that is way more than the $480 million that they are expected to earn back, and that is the maximum that they are projected to earn back is $480 million.
Yeah.
Uh, Granted that $2 billion is for other things other than you know the
Infrastructure as
stadium
well.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
but predominantly it is for it was another sporting event that they were holding that I can't remember at the top of my head because it
Well, I
wasn't
mean,
really pertaining
easily
to it.
every single high school championship.
It was to do, I believe, with more incoming stuff for college football. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Ooh, maybe I know that. Maybe like UT and Arkansas playing in like a larger area just to.
But that's really pretty much it that I have to talk about, and I just want to know why that Roger Goodell and all the owners of the stadium being used for the World Cup, as well as the Canadian, the Mexican ones, who,
Hmm.
in my fairness, I failed to look more into. Why are you having your taxpayers foot these bills to a sport that, at least in Americans' case, I can't speak for Canada and Mexico,
Yeah,
don't watch?
very much so. Like I don't know how else to put. I mean, you've said it all right there.
And to our elected officials, why are you letting these $2 billion, not not 2 billion, two multi-billion, like two as in two separate
Yes.
multi-billion-dollar organizations
TOO. Yes.
run wild with American tax dollars? And that's
Just
all I
for a
have to say.
gamble that just. I mean, I get it. You want to bring everything up, but you're just essentially what is it? What is it? Pork rolling, pork log rolling.
I don't know what kicking the
What
can, kicking the can down the road.
What is pork? Okay, the term pork barrel politics refers to
Oh,
spending which
pork
is intended to
barreling.
benefit
Yeah.
constituents of a politician in return for their political support, either in the form of campaign contributions or votes. So I
Oh,
can definitely see how this would
Pork barreling.
very easily, yes, be
Yeah.
a pork barreling, log rolling, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in their local government. They're like, hey, we did great. And I mean, who cares what these peasants think? They're going to pay the taxes no matter what. We need to get these major businesses to support us. And these major businesses will essentially go out and have the media in turn bring it back. And we can go into detail about, all that horrific shit. But
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get into the other more.
yeah.
I was trying to stick to sports, really.
Yeah. So let's leave that alone. But yeah, that's what I really feel is the issue here.
Hand in hand with that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of look at it just from a sports perspective.
Yes. I think it's going to be something that's going to kill teams. The stadiums are going to get large. They're going to end up dropping. And then who knows how this is all going to turn out. St. Louis, especially with the Rams. I mean, they had to go all the way to Los Angeles. That was a big old, lawsuit there.
And
but
they ended
essentially,
up having to pay the city of St. Louis, too.
Yeah. So how many others are going to see this and see what they did wrong and essentially pass that and leave these much larger cities to try and make something in a smaller area to grow the, I don't know, local population? And it just seems that this is a perfect opportunity for them to definitely get something going here. And maybe it will work out. Maybe it's all, gloom and doom on my side. But I'm not sure. But going back to even the turf and grass, which is what we were talking about earlier. I mean, all of this is going to be on grass. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it's something that can happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's obviously, it can happen. Apparently, the soccer players have more say what goes on in an American football stadium than, the players that play in it.
Yeah. And the only thing I can think of is that internationally, I suppose they make more money.
Not really.
I mean, I couldn't tell you, to be quite honest. Because, I mean, I hear about the World Cup every 4 years. I hear about the Olympics. I honestly don't give a shit. I mean, it's cool, yeah, go America or whatever the fuck, but I mean, it doesn't matter to us as much as it does every other country over there.
The World Cup, I get.
Do you? I mean, even then,
football wise, the Olympics not so much anymore. And the Olympics is like really archaic to me. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally so. I don't know. What do you call it? Like horse blindered, very specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what this guy trained for 30 years, and it's like, oh well, no shit, he's gonna be the greatest. Well, this other guy also went for. He was only done it 23 years. He's younger, and it's like, well, yeah, but when you put him against 23-year-old that guy, and it's like, I just don't want to hear about it. Like, yeah, they run fast, cool. I want to see some crazy shit.
The Olympics is adding flag football.
No shit. Are they really?
Yeah.
The same way that they added, what is it, basketball and, well...
They're adding lacrosse as well.
Why?
Because they're, again, the Olympics is being held in America.
So they have to make it at least
So they're adding some North American sports to it.
Yeah, good, because, I mean...
So they added flag
at
football
their best,
and lacrosse, which is a Native American sport.
Yeah.
Which there's a controversy with that, but I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, that's gonna be that's let's skip over that one.
I'm starting to lose it here, so
yeah. Well, I mean, before we we have, but before we get into it, how do you feel about having the number one spot in the NFC South with a record of 6-7 and a 3-way tie?
Well, we're winning by default because we beat the other teams.
Yep. You have, I mean, divisionally, that's why those division games count. And you know what? I'm as a
So
Cowboy
on
fan,
paper, we're
I am
winning.
not gonna talk shit because for the longest time the NFC East was the short bus and whoever was leading it was driving, and
It's
it
the
wasn't
most
by very high.
it's the most football season ever.
Yeah, exactly. This is the most footballist football you've ever footballed.
Yeah.
And mathematically, the Panthers are out. They
They
can't
are
even
they have
have.
been eliminated as
Yes.
well as the Patriots. They are also
Yeah.
eliminated.
Yeah. Mathematically, there's nothing you can do. It's over. Just go. Well, and then from what I understand, the Panthers have traded their first round pick to, or no,
To
the Bears. Fuck, I think the Bears traded to the Panthers. The Panthers traded to the Bears. So even though the Bears are like, you know what, fuck it, we'll just lose and we're not gonna make it.
mm-hmm.
They got nothing. It's
To
it's
send
just
it.
tough all over. Yeah. Now, how do you feel? I mean, you're gonna be number 4 going against what is it, number 5? Um.
Yeah, we're going against
So at this point, I mean, it's really gonna be you're gonna be either playing the Cowboys or the Eagles.
hey man, I'll tell you what.
Would you rather have the
We're
Cowboys?
yeah.
Which is a very strong. I mean, if I were you, I'd be praying for the
Hey
Cowboys.
man,
Yeah,
every time we've come against you in the past like 2 years, we've
fucking
come
assholes.
away on top.
Yes.
So you know
Yeah.
what? I gotta go with repeat history.
Yeah.
If I have to take my
Uh,
chance, because the last time we went against the Eagles, we got our teeth kicked in.
yeah. Well, I don't know, man. The Eagles at this point are they're on a 2 losing streak. They lost
Yeah.
last week again. Well, the last week against the 49ers, which let's be honest, I mean that's a team that you will lose against.
Yeah.
And then we kicked the shit out of them as well. But interesting to me is that they have been struggling, or not struggling, but they've been very close for the last 4 weeks. And I'm not saying that they've been exposed, but Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. But I truly do not see him being an MVP candidate. He does have a presence on the field, absolutely. I will never take that away from him. However, with any running quarterback, you just contain him, you let your defensive ends go, and you make him make a throw, and 90% of the time they can't. And that's
Yeah.
why I don't think he's worth it.
Hey.
Now, the biggest thing here is San Francisco has to lose because we want that number 1 seed.
Yeah. Hey man, if we make it, I'll be happy. And we might make it just because.
Hey, man, that's
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is good.
yeah. Looks like you
It
have
really is. And
2
that's
more
what I gotta hope
divisional.
for. I gotta
Yeah.
hope everybody beats the shit out of each other and we just somehow squeak by.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I gotta hope for. But
I
hey,
mean, truly,
you
and
know what? That's
it's gonna be
better.
something to
That's
watch.
better than what better hope than some other teams have.
Are you specifically referencing the Carolina Panthers?
Them, the Patriots, the Titans,
hmm
uh,
The
the
Raiders just
Commanders,
lost to
the
Minnesota
Giants,
3-0. That
the
was a
Cardinals.
fucking snooze fest.
I could be a Cardinals fan right now.
Ooh,
I could
yeah,
also be
that.
the Bears.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's better to be okay than
Yeah, hey,
good.
at the end of the day, you're just trying to make it, man. Everybody's just trying to hang in there.
Sometimes it's better to keep your head afloat and just wait for your time to strike. You know, that's good. That's what I gotta hope the game plan is at this point, because Todd Bowles is playing for a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't make it to the playoffs, or I think if I just say fire him regardless. I don't like him.
I am currently looking for the last time an NFL team made the playoffs with a losing record.
Hey, we can still have a winning record. We after we
Yeah, I mean,
lose to
you
the Packers,
could.
we can still beat the Jaguars, the Saints, and the Panthers. We can still do it.
Oh, wow. I mean, there's.
I mean, we'll have the most season ever. It'd be a 9-8 season, or something like that.
Well, hey, the 2020 Washington
So,
football team was 7-9 when they made the playoffs in the wild
hey,
card.
hey, man,
Uh,
the Giants,
2014 Carolina Panthers
the
7-8-1.
the Giants limped into the Super Bowl with the Patriots and still won. So,
That, you know what? That is true.
you
Took
know,
that shit all the way down.
Eli Manning found him in a situation that I don't think he himself was like, "Hey, man, I don't know how I got here."
Yeah. Well, the only thing I could think of was Peyton was sending
And
him
and he
waves
just played
telepathically.
and he just played his little football heart out.
Uh, but I mean, all in all, there's definitely a chance for the Buccaneers. I mean, looking at your schedule, looking at
Hey, man,
your
like
division schedule,
that's why the division games are important.
very much so. I mean, shit, you're telling me right now. I mean, the only reason why we're number one in the NFC East is because we've beaten. You know, we haven't lost to Washington, like the Eagles did way back when.
Yeah.
And we've stuck about.
NFC South is just here for the ride, man. We're just here to play our own game. We'll let everybody else have fun for a while, and then you know what? We'll get good and try football again. You know what? We'll try football again next year.
Yeah, and we're just gonna keep on footballing.
You know, if we can just coast, keeps everybody healthy. You know, that's a good way to end the year after
After 2 years
after.
ago winning the fucking Super Bowl,
Yeah,
now you're just like, please let us just. We
get
want to
something
just try.
going,
Yeah.
please, God.
Uh, well, no, I
We
think all the points we've came out here to make have been made. I did like this little discussion on the turf, FIFA, and moving along with it. I think we should really get into this kind of almost investigative journalism type situation.
No,
I
we
think that was
shouldn't,
good.
because I fucking hated it.
Oh, okay. Well, then fuck it. You know what? The last 10 minutes were my favorite too. Then.
Alrighty, that was fun.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for watching or listening, whatever you want to call it, to another episode of the Bench Bros Podcast, Week 13. The Dallas Cowboys are currently ahead number one in the NFC East. The Buccaneers are number one in the NFC. What is it? South? Is that right? So, I mean, there you go, right there.
Everyone's 6 and 7. Everyone's equal. It's perfectly balanced.
Yo, if
Just,
everybody-
the Panthers don't exist. Just forget them. They don't exist.
Yo, if everybody's eating glue, nobody's eating glue. You know,
Exactly.
But thank you so
Everyone's
much.
on the short bus. You can't call us stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's a pot calling the kettle black, so you know.
It's the Spider-Man pointing meme down here. Goodbye.